Hey guys, this is Bill. I'm cooped up at home because of all the craziness currently happening. If you're watching this in the future, you probably lived through it, so you understand what's happening. Something has really bugged me about this current pandemic, and I didn't really know what it was. Maybe it was the everybody go inside and don't go, self-quarantine and not do anything. Or is it not being able to go to work? Maybe that's the reason that I'm upset. But I think one of the biggest problems is that at the drop of a hat, everybody is willing to kind of put aside normalcy, their daily routine, just to do whatever, one, the government, and two, the experts have to say. Not that I'm an expert and I know what's best, because the health professionals probably do know the best thing. But I thought about it a little bit, and I'm also been reading the book of Proverbs, and I came upon a proverb, which is actually shows up a couple of times in the book of Proverbs, because that's what happens. It's like, has the same one a couple of times to have some filler. And I realized what my issue with the current coronavirus panic really is. Proverbs 20, verse 10, this is the one out of the, I think it actually shows up 3 times, but this is the one I'm going to refer to. Proverbs 20, verse 10 says, "Divers weights and divers measures, both of them are alike abomination to the Lord." Now, this is talking about basically money and finances and, weighting things. So a diverse weight or a diverse measure, if you're using different measures for different things, or if you're using different measures for different people, that tends to be an abomination to the Lord. Which is really interesting, because the Lord doesn't have, sin is an abomination, but he doesn't tend to have very many things that are abominations. So being false with your measures and with your weights is bad. Let's get to the the physical side of this. And this is where my problem is. I looked up coronavirus deaths as of what day am I recording this? March 19th. So as of March 19th, 2020, in the US, there are over 10,000 cases. Okay, that's quite a number of cases. There are just over 150 deaths out of 10,000 cases. Okay. Actually, I should have pulled this up earlier, but let me do a small calculation. 10,000. No, wait. It's the other way I can math. 150 divided by 10,000. Okay. 0.015. That's 1.5% of cases end in death so far, because we're early on the curve from my point of view. I'm going to release a video in like 2 weeks and either feel stupid or not stupid. So 1.5% death rate. Okay. Worldwide. Let's go worldwide. WHO reports that there are a grand total of over 200,000 cases, about 209,000 cases. Almost 9,000 of which are deaths, so 8,700 of which are deaths. So let's do 8,700 divided by 8,700, and we'll just divide it by 200,000. So that's about 4.3%, 4.4% death rate. Okay, worldwide. Right? Okay. It's a little worse worldwide. Now let me tell you about a very, very, very terrible disease that comes around every single year. The common flu. Do you know how many cases and deaths of the common flu there are in America every year? CDC reports there are, through, this is last year, October 1st, 2019, to March 7th, 2020, there have been 36 million to 51 million flu illnesses. 300,000 to 600,000 hospitalizations. And here's the big number. 22,000 to 55,000 deaths that can possibly be caused by the flu. I don't know why this number fluctuates, but let's take it at the lower end. 22,000. Let's do our calculations again. 22,000 divided by, let's go to the lower end. Let's just do the lower end. Divided by 36 million. I got an error because that's too high. Why didn't I do these calculations before? I'm not going to do the math anymore because what am I doing? This video wasn't prepared. But just think about what is happening right now. 22,000 cases divided, like, out of 30 million? 22,000 deaths. How many did the coronavirus kill in America? So far, 150. Let's go worldwide. Who has worldwide data for the flu? Estimate of respiratory deaths due to seasonal influenza. 290,000 to 650,000 annually. So 300 to 600,000 people every year. What was the worldwide death toll from corona so far? Not yet 9,000. 9,000 is 2 orders of magnitude less than 200,000? Like, it's 27 times as less? Like, and then we have the response. What do we do when the flu happens? Well, we have the flu shot, which usually doesn't work because it was last year's flu anyway. But it helps some people, so, we use it. It's good. We follow the experts' advice. We get the flu shot. Who usually is affected by the flu? The elderly, the people who have other physical problems. And it ends up killing a lot of people. But what do we do other than the flu shot and stay safe and use sanitary methods like washing our hands, which is what we should be doing in a civilized country anyway? Don't do those things. Like 1/3 people still die. Coronavirus comes around. And so far 9,000 people have died of it. Same kind of sickness, like an influenza kind of sickness. It's a respiratory problem. And yes, it may be a little worse, and it may be more infectious, but it kills people at an order of magnitude less than the flu. And what did we do? We shut down the entire country. talk about diverse methods, diverse weights. Something that is an order of magnitude less for two things that are very, very similar. And two things we should be handling most likely the same way. Why don't we care about the flu the way we care about corona? Why is the response different? Now, if we did the same thing for corona as we do for flu, if we did the same for flu as we're doing for corona, would the death rate be less? Maybe we should shut down maybe we should shut down the country during flu season and find out. But at some point, I think we have to realize that we can either have life go on and understand that this is a problem that we're going to face, but that we should be sanitary, and maybe when we don't get the flu, don't visit our older relatives, don't go places when you have the flu. Or we need to realize that corona is not going to kill us. The quarantine is probably supposed to work, probably going to work, right? It's probably going to keep that curve low. But that curve, even if it was going to be high, is going to be so much lower than the flu's curve. Like if we are the most conservative with the numbers and say only 300,000 people die a year to the flu versus 10,000 that have died of corona, 30 times more people die of every year, and we don't shut down the country. Why? Because we understand that for life to go on in a civilized, complex society like we have, there are going to be casualties. It's the same reason we don't either ban cars or ban people going over 5 miles an hour. In order for civilized society to keep moving, we realize that if everyone went 60 miles an hour on the road, there are going to be car crashes, and there are going to be deaths from that. Why don't we shut that down? Why don't we fix that? Why don't we go to automated cars? Because we find it's okay for all of that. But yet, as soon as Corona-chan comes around, shut the whole country down because we can't let those people die. You might watch this and you might think, wow, Bill, you really want to shut down the country when the flu happens? No, I want the opposite to happen. I want to not shut down the country when Corona comes around. Which is odd, because you would think that I would be on the side of saving more people. The problem is that we just are bad at doing that, because we're bad at knowing when people are dying. We look at Corona and we say the world is dying. Why didn't China warn us sooner? And we come to flu season and all of our older relatives are dying. And we're like, it's fine. It's fine. Diverse weights, diverse measures. So what, should we shut down the country for the flu? No, we shouldn't. Because the flu is always, to paraphrase another verse of the Bible, the flu ye have always with you. And I think we have to realize that that's going to happen. Now, the coronavirus, we don't always have with us, right? Maybe we can shut it down. But do we have to suspend developed civilization for 10,000 people? Render unto Caesar, I guess. Render unto Caesar.